So last time on Dragon Ball Super GR, Bardock had gone off with Goten to train, hoping to learn an easy trick to at least somewhat compare himself to Goku and Raditz. He soon learned, however, this was a harder task than initially thought, but eventually succeeded in becoming a Super Saiyan. Meanwhile, Gohan, after confronting and forgiving Raditz, began showing his uncle pictures of his family, which ultimately resulted in Raditz remembering one major detail: the existence of his son. And in today's manga, Goku is going to find out too, as the duo go to meet this new Saiyan. But before we begin, support this video and channel by leaving a like right now as you're reading this and watching till the very end for its unbelievable conclusion. Enjoy. So our story continues after Raditz revealed shockingly last episode the existence of his son. Having contemplated for almost an hour now, Raditz, who stayed sitting in his chair, staring into Gohan's phone, finally stands up and proclaims, "That's it! I know better than anyone at this point. Life is precious, and I've only got one. I can't waste this second chance I've been given. God knows how long it will even last, knowing my luck. If my son is still alive and out there, I can't sit by and let him fall behind, Kakarot and his brats. I am Raditz after all, the older brother, a goddamn Super Saiyan. Kakarot may be as strong as a god now, but I was far stronger than him when I conceived my child than when he had Gohan. So there's no telling what kind of incredible power my offspring would have by now. Clearly, something is in the water here to make these half-breeds grow so incredibly strong. My progeny will be no different. By my honor, someone will carry on my namesake, my son, and they will surpass Kakarot's children one day. I'll make sure of it." Raditz, however, after his impassioned speech, then looks around and asks, "But where's Dad? Before I go, I should probably get some advice. To be honest, I have no idea how I'd even interact with my own child. It's been over 20 years. It's not like meeting him as a kid. He'd be a grown man by now. Bardock, where are you? Don't tell me he still hasn't come back from sparring Goten. Typical. This family is full of fight-obsessed freaks." As Raditz continues his search, even looking out the front door and disappointingly realizing that Bardock is nowhere to be found, coming down the stairs yawning is a tired Goku, who says, a good nap after a big meal is one of the best things you could ever do, big bro. You should try it out, Raditz. You can sleep in Gohan's old room. He doesn't use it anymore." A triggered Raditz, however, looks around in embarrassment as he soon realizes, without Bardock, Goku is the next best thing, muttering to himself, "Damn it! Looks like if Dad's really gone, the only person left to go to for advice is Kakarot. Imagine getting advice from a glorified baboon. From the stories I've heard at the dinner table, this fool knows less about this world than even I do. He hasn't even changed a bit since the day I met him. I can only hope the imbecile is more wise in fatherhood than everything else he's shown me so far." Following this, Raditz then calls out to Goku with a tempered look, saying, "Hey Kakarot, never mind the napping. I have something I need to talk to you about. Something unfortunately only you can help me with. Now, it's important you keep this under wraps for now, as I still don't know what I'll be doing. But I need some advice on fatherhood and..." "What? Raditz? You have a kid? Wow, you've gotta be kidding! You never struck me as good with children." Instantly reacting in shock, forcing Raditz to quickly put his finger to his mouth to quiet down Kakarot with immediate urgency. "Shush, Kakarot! This is exactly why I didn't want to do this! For God's sake, I can already tell this is a bad idea! Just kill me already! Telling this idiot is only going to make this 10 times harder! Eventually though, things calm down and Goku and Raditz sit down together, where a just short of embarrassed Raditz begins reluctantly explaining, "Listen, Kakarot, yes, I have a son on Earth. It happened a long time ago, when I first came to see you all those years ago. But you cannot be shouting it to the high heavens. I don't want the whole world to know. Mother would have a heart attack, you know. I hadn't mentioned anything about it until now. Besides, right now, I still don't even know if I'm going to go through with meeting him." A puzzled Goku, however, just questions further. "Wow, on Earth, huh? So he's been here this whole time. One thing I don't get though is, how though? Like when? I thought when you came here, you only had the goal of recruiting me to join you, Nappa and Vegeta. I guess I just thought you headed straight here from when you landed." With Goku's face now changing to a wink as he continues, "I didn't know you came here for a little love and romance too. Mixing business and pleasure, eh, Raditz? You old dog." Nudging a now thoroughly red and embarrassed Raditz as the older brother replies, "Kakarot! No! It was not like that! I didn't plan anything. It just happened so quickly and randomly. I would never come here for any purpose than to complete my mission. That is the Saiyan way. It all started when I left the ship. For one, I didn't immediately head to you. It took me some time to even know where you were. When I first landed, for instance, I first met with a strange human who attacked me. A farmer, with a shotgun if I remember correctly. And only after dealing with him did I set course to try and find you. But even then, the first power level I detected didn't even turn out to be yours. Instead, it was a strange green man. But on the way to him, I did eventually realize just how long it had been since I'd last eaten. After all, the trip to Earth took entire days, and there's no food on that ship. Eventually, while flying, I did spot a village of some kind, filled with strange people, brown-skinned, but wearing extremely primitive clothing. They looked different to the Earthlings I've seen with you. But one thing was for sure, the greenery was bountiful with trees, full of fruit, so naturally, I flew down as soon as my stomach forced me to. As I landed, however, the village people immediately took notice as I asked politely, "Hey there, I'm looking for some food. Bring me some immediately." But of course, they soon ran as fast as they could in fear. You damn cowards! If you aren't going to play ball and feed me, allow me to feed you a double sundae instead. But just before I blew their little settlement to the next dimension, a soft hand grabbed my other arm. I looked down, and a mysterious woman was standing right next to me with no fear. A beautiful woman, Kakarot, brown-skinned, with the most mesmerizing yellow eyes I'd ever seen. Nothing like the women of our planet, and no offense, nothing like the other women I've seen here either. Before long, we simply hit it off. She wasn't like the other Earthlings. There wasn't a glimpse of hesitation in her words or movements. It was almost like she already knew me from another lifetime. My strange appearance fascinated her more than anything as we carried on speaking. Even I was caught in a trance, just staring into her intense, golden eyes, where I soon learned her name was Narali, a name indigenous to her village it seemed. Eventually, she would lead me away from the other villagers, telling me to come with her if I wanted some real food and something sweet to eat. And of course, me being hungry and also infatuated with her, I just followed. What else was a starving Saiyan to do? Little did I know though, where she ended up taking me was her bedroom. I still remember asking her, wait a minute, I don't smell any food here. But she continued to persuade me to keep coming in, promising a large feast. And before we knew it, one thing led to another, and I ended up eating something very different to food. My first time, and I didn't regret it. I almost felt like I was in love. But I knew all the time I had to leave. You were still my target, Kakarot. And if I failed Vegeta, he would have annihilated me as well as everyone on this planet, including Narali. So as soon as I could, without a word of goodbye, I left, heading towards the green man thinking he was you. And the rest was history. And after hearing Raditz's big revelation and story, Raditz sits in deep thought while a mind-blown Goku eventually responds, "Wow! So that's how it happened. Just like that, really? As soon as you met her? That took me and Chi-Chi years to do. And you flew off straight after without even letting her know? So you haven't even seen her for 2 decades now. Damn, Raditz! You really are a dog! I thought Krillin was bad, but you're a bigger player, ain't you, big bro?" Immediately causing Raditz to become embarrassed with a crimson red hot flush as he yells back, "Shut up, Kakarot! No! I am not like whoever this Krillin is! I was in love! I just had my orders, and a Saiyan always follows through." Goku, however, just disregarding his elder brother, continues with a confused face. But there's still some things about your story that don't really make sense or add up. So, after you came and found me, we both ended up dying. So how would you then find out you had a son? You ended up in hell. With Raditz then folding his arms and responding as he thinks back, "Well, this was a while ago. But sometime after I had settled in, while wandering hell with Nappa, I came across a strange wizard. His name was Bibbidi. Apparently, he had been dead for thousands of years, a veteran in hell, and he quickly grew a liking to me due to my power. He said it reminded him of someone called Boo or whatever. But regardless, it was with his mystical powers I was able to be shown Narali once again. Naturally, after I died, I did think of her, and I wanted to check up. And briefly I saw her, but shockingly, she wasn't alone anymore. She was with a baby boy. A baby boy with a tail. And so, I immediately knew who the father was. He looked precious, healthy, and strong, just like his old man. But this was all pointless at the time. Back then, I never knew of any Dragon Balls, so eternal hell was all I knew was in my future. After that day, I never even saw Bibbidi again, so never got to check up. And after a while, my mind just allowed me to forget and block out that entire event, that my son ever even existed. And so that's why, Kakarot, I called you. I wanted to know what you thought I should do. What would I even say to him after all these years? Goku, having listened, then thinks for a while, replying, well, I'm glad you're asking me for advice on your son and not Narali. I don't think even I would know what to say to her if she's anything like Chi-Chi. But I don't think there's anything to think about when it comes to seeing your son, or her. You're alive now, so you have no excuses. You have to see him. As for what to say, I think as long as she's told him who you are, it won't be a problem. Family is family after all. I still remember the day I met Goten for the first time. I spent 7 years in Otherworld training, so by the time I'd seen him, he was already a strong little guy. But you know, there was nothing awkward about it. He knew who I was and I knew who he was straight away. And the first thing we did was hug. I'm sure it'll be the same for you too, Raditz, so don't sweat it. And with that, Raditz then stands up confidently with a smile as he proclaims, "Well, that's that then! I'm going to see them! You're right, Kakarot, I have no excuses! And if you can meet your son after 7 years, then so too can I after 20. I'm leaving now! I can still remember the location like it was yesterday. I could never forget the place I first met her. But now, what are you going to be doing, Kakarot? Do you want to join me, brother? See your very first nephew." And in response to this, Goku then just replies with his hand behind his head saying, "Well, I was going to go King Kai's to train some more, but after hearing so much about this Narali person, I've got to see her for myself. Besides, I bet this will be fun. I wonder what my first nephew will look like. You lead the way, Raditz. I'll be right behind you." And so Raditz and Goku then walk outside, where Raditz points in the distance claiming, "The village should be in that direction. It won't take too long if we travel with some speed. There won't be any breaks, so if you need to do anything, do it now, Kakarot." To which Goku just replies, "Nah, I'm good. Let's go." And with that, the two fly off immediately, leaving the rest of the Son family behind. After some time, Goku and Raditz are in the sky when Raditz spots down below the village he mentioned earlier, saying, "Ah! Kakarot! There it is! It hasn't changed a bit! Let's land. Try not to make too much of a commotion. Like I said, they scare easily." The two then land, and as expected, the villagers are already shocked at their appearance. It seems this rural village has seldom ever seen an outsider, let alone aliens from another planet. Goku comments, "You weren't kidding. They look terrified." With Raditz responding, "Don't worry, let's just try and find Narali." The two Saiyans then begin walking through the village. All the while, the residents whisper and cower, "Hey, Elder, who are those guys? Are they going to cause trouble?" "Don't worry, son. Oob and his friend will protect us if they start anything." Raditz, growing tired of looking around and seeing no signs of his woman, then looks at Goku and says, "This is going to be tougher than I thought, Kakarot. If only I could have sensed power levels back then, I'd be able to tell where she was now. Maybe she left the village." Eventually though, Raditz notices an elder lady behind him, one he seems to recognize briefly from his visit last time. He mutters, "Hey, wait a minute." He then quickly moves straight before the old lady, who's understandably visibly shaken, before asking, "Hey lady, you seem familiar. Recognize me? I came here over 20 years ago and met a woman named Narali. You wouldn't happen to know where she is, would you?" The woman just cowers for a moment, muttering, before instantly then screaming at the top of her voice, calling for help, leaving a bemused Raditz to try and calm her down. Whoa there, lady! I was just asking a question. I mean no harm, just relax." Slowly walking towards her in an effort to place a hand on her shoulder, but before he can get any further, Raditz is suddenly kicked straight in the face, hard and with an intensity so great he is left momentarily disorientated, while the old lady meanwhile yells, "Attaboy! You finally came! About time! Whoa! Not bad! Goku, meanwhile, looks surprisingly excited as he watches at the young man's power and technique, commenting further, "Damn! Who is that? He sent Raditz flying! That's impressive for an Earthling. Guess there's strong people all over the place." But while Goku is pleased, Raditz is sliding across the floor on his face, still reeling from the impact of the mysterious young man's kick. An infuriated Raditz, just barely getting up, angrily mumbles, "Why you? Who the hell was that? Since when did Earthlings become strong enough to wobble me?" Goku, now hearing his brother's words and now finally realizing Raditz was actually injured, then says, "Oh wow, Raditz, he made you bleed. That's really impressive. Yeah, I'm not sure who he is either, but do you need my help?" "Your help? Not in a million years, Kakarot! I'm fine. It was just a lucky hit. I obviously must have lowered my power level down a little bit too much. That's what I get for trying to be nice." Then spitting onto the floor the blood that has just now formed in his mouth, before continuing, "I came here in peace, just looking for a certain woman. But fellow villager or not, whoever just hit me is about to be sent to the next dimension. Nobody attacks a Saiyan and lives!" And suddenly, Raditz gets back onto his feet as his power level begins to slowly rise, shouting, "Now come here, you! Clearly my time away from this planet has made you Earthlings forget the meaning of fear. Allow me to..." Huh? There's no way. Could he? Those eyes! And standing there furious is a young brown man with the same yellow eyes Raditz had described of Narali. His body bulked up far more than any of the other villagers, and quite curiously, a large tail behind him, which could only mean one thing about his origin. A new Saiyan has been discovered, the son of Raditz. And as he looks on at the two intruders who are unknowingly related to him, he speaks, "Who are you, and why have you come here? We are a poor village with nothing of use to you foreigners. Go back where you came from now, or do you feel like getting hit again?" But Raditz, unfazed by the threats and just shocked at the sight of the young man, walks closer thinking to himself, "There's no doubt about it. That tail, and those eyes. This is Narali's son. This is my son." Trying not to give anything away just yet, Raditz cautiously then just asks the boy, Hey kid, nice kick. You really got me. I'll tell you why we're here in a second, but first, mind telling me what your name is?" And the mysterious boy, still angrily looking at Raditz, then responds, "Thanks for the compliment, but I could get that idea from the blood in your mouth. I don't really need to know why you're here. I just need you to leave. I shall tell you my name if that is all you want, but fail to go after this, and my name will be the last thing you ever hear. My name is Arj." But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag ArjArmy in the comments down below, and let me know if you need that part 7 to drop now to see Goku's reaction with Arj, and also the introduction of Oob too. Obviously, this is my own manga, so please support my work on Patreon via the links in the pinned comment and description. But if you want to see more of my videos, just click on one of these two videos on the right now. Until next video, guys, cheers.